probably one of our better rotations in that it was one of the healthiest cycles we ever had while we were there. You know, we were stationed in Balad. We were getting up. We were working out. We were eating 3 squares a day. We weren't doing night ops. It was all daylight stuff.
It was all daylight?
All daylight.
Wow.
And it was effective. And it, you know, it hadn't been done. Nobody done a daylight vehicle helo-borne interdiction since the one that they did in Somalia in '93, chasing Mohammed Farid Adid, you know, and or whatever the guy's name was, Otto or whoever they rolled up doing one. But yeah, it hadn't been done in a long time. It was really, really effective, not just for that rotation, but it was effective for the rotation after us. The guys continued to do it for another 60 days. So we literally like cleaned the board in terms of, you know, bad guys and influencers on the battlefield, you know, high value targets. Like we really cleaned house in about a 90-day period. For us, you know, like I told you, the fun one was the hostage rescue, but sort of towards the tail end, we had one where it was some guys that we were tracking related to AMZ, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, right? But yeah, one of the few objective names I remember, it was like Objective Mayor, but it was a daylight vehicle interdiction that turned into a full-blown daylight helo assault. And so whether they had gotten used to our pattern and activity and what we were doing to engage them, or it was just pure dumb luck, they broke off of the road that we were intending to interdict them on, and ended up pulling up to a house in a rural community, a couple of structures together, and they got out and went in the house. Well, they were fairly significant, high-value individuals, so our daylight vehicle interdiction turned into a daylight assault. So we changed course, started heading towards the objective. About 1 minute out, I was, as they say, I was like the lead nav guy. As the 2 IC on the team, my particular team was responsible for navigation to the target, whether it was a vehicle or whether it was a house or whether we were walking or whatever it was. So I was in the door of the helo. I had a tough book next to me, a laptop, you know, running some map software, tracking our location, and I had the target house pinned on there. And then we had a predator overhead. So we had a display in the helo also with what the pred was seeing. So I'm watching this, looking out the window, watching this, looking out the window, looking where the target house is, and the pilot flies right by the house. And it's out in the middle of a farm field. So I'm screaming and I'm slapping the crew chief and I'm pointing, it's right there, it's right there, it's right there. Well, the pilot's, you know, the crew chief says something to the pilot banks hard, comes back down, sets down in the field, and the trail bird comes in and sets down behind us. Well, there's a irrigation ditch, like a great big irrigation ditch between us and the target house. And as we got out and started moving, we all, like, collectively, like I don't know, it was 2.5 teams worth of guys, 2 teams worth of guys hit this ditch, and we're all just standing there because we know it's like chest deep and nobody wants to cross this thing. And like a scene out of a World War II movie, our troop commander at the time goes, "Get over there!" And I remember laughing because there's a bunch of commandos, you know, afraid to cross this little body of water, but we did, and we crested the other side of the trench line, and then luckily for us, the guys just sort of starburst out of the house, and so there was a lot more than we thought. It was 8 to 10 guys, and they came out guns blazing. So as we're trying to close the distance and deal with some of them, the 2 little birds that we had in support had caught up to us because the Hawks were a lot faster than the little birds. So when it turned into a helo assault, we didn't want to waste any time. We wanted to get them while they were fresh in case they were spooked and trying to go arm themselves, which is what they did. But so as they squirted out, the little birds came in. And so there's this weird daylight thing where we're firing, maneuvering across this field towards the house as these guys go in every direction. The little birds came in with guys on the pods, and they're shooting down, and the bad guys are shooting up. One of the pilots took one through his foot, straight through his foot, didn't tell anybody, finished the whole operation. It wasn't until we got back we found out he had a bullet hole right through the bottom of his boot. Just kept flying the mission. We had another guy take one into his weapon, so it didn't penetrate his rifle, but hit him right in the rifle.
Damn.
On the pod. But so anyway, target goes down. You know, we're all good. Everybody's okay, minus the wounded pilot. And the bad guys are all dead, but every single one of those guys had a body bomb on. Every one of them.
All of them.
Every single one was wearing a rigged body bomb. None of them detonated. The 2 vehicles that were in basically the front yard where they had parked the car were like 2 of those like minibuses, both of them fully loaded with explosives. They were VBIEDs that they were getting ready to use. And the realization hit us that when we flared and turned, when we missed the target and came back in, if they would have just happened to be able to clack off one of those 2 trucks, it would have taken down both helos and probably killed everybody in our troop.
Shit.
But fortunately for us, and this is the way war goes, what's the saying? Better to be lucky than good, or whatever.
Yeah.
We were lucky that day. And yeah, the intel that came off of that in particular was some of the intel that was utilized to target AMZ, which we had rotated out, but the very next rotation is when they dropped all those bombs and killed him, and confirmed that he was killed. So yeah, it was a really successful rotation. Mentally, it was probably good because we were really getting after it, and we all had a lot of baggage from '05. So we were really effective. We were really engaged, and yeah, it was, and we didn't lose anybody. So.
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.